Making liminal spaces in Unreal Engine. I'm going to show you a few different options to make the haunting and dreamlike liminal spaces of your imagination for free in Unreal Engine. I'm going to show you step by step how to build the backrooms, and I will show you how I made the Liminal Forest for my recent short horror film, which you can watch right now at the links in the description for free. Before we dive into it, if you enjoy this video, please hit the like, hit the subscribe, and hit the bell icon. We're going to start off by making a liminal space completely free with no paid assets. In fact, you can download the project files now and check it out. I've already made it for you. From there, you can reverse engineer it, tweak it, or just start using it. The link is in the description. I wanna get liminal, liminal, I wanna get liminal. We will also talk about some of the assets you may consider buying to create your own liminal spaces in the future, including an asset pack that I used for the Liminal Forest, which is free right now on Unreal Engine Marketplace, but it's only free through the end of the month. Again, I have made my project files available for you to download so you can follow along if you want, and I transcribed this whole video into a PDF instruction manual. To get all of that free, all you have to do is sign up for the newsletter at the link in the description. I promise I won't send you spam emails. I will only send you the best content I have to offer, and you will continually get access to all the exclusive content I make for future videos. Subscribe, and then you will get an email asking, are you sure you want to subscribe to the Mother Son Productions newsletter? That's my LLC. Say yes. And then you will get the email from Bodhi the Movie Maker, and in there will be a link to a Google Drive folder, and then in there you will see a folder with the name of this video. Click that, project files and the instructions will be there for you to download. Now let's dive into it. What are liminal spaces? A liminal space is a transitional or in-between environment that elicits a sense of ambiguity and disorientation. These spaces often defy clear categorization, evoke feelings of unease, and prompt contemplation due to their surreal or non-conventional characteristics. You may have heard of the backrooms. The concept for the backrooms originated as part of internet lore, representing a fictional and eerie alternate reality. The backrooms are described as a series of interconnected, dimly lit, and unsettling rooms that exist beyond our normal perception of reality. The narrative often suggests that these spaces can be accessed accidentally by individuals, typically through mundane places like offices or homes. The atmosphere of the backrooms is characterized by outdated, yellow-tinted wallpaper, fluorescent lighting, and a sense of emptiness. The narrative often involves the idea of getting lost in these rooms, encountering strange entities, and experiencing a pervasive feeling of unease. Welcome to the internet subculture, everybody. This is the Liminal Space Weirdos Club. Yo. Let's build our first liminal space based off the most popular concepts we've seen associated with the backrooms. Again, we're going to build this from scratch with no paid assets. Of course, you can always get the link in the description and just skip right to the part where I've built it for you. Why not? All right, step one, open Unreal Engine. Under project type, select Game, name it, check Starter Content, check Ray Tracing, click Create. Okay, File, New Level, Empty Level. Change the view mode to Unlit. Click Add to Project, go down to Shapes, select Plane, drag the plane into the level. This will be our floor. Expand the width and depth to your liking. I just made it really big. The idea is a huge expansive space here. Save this new level, name it, assign it to a folder if you want. I chose to name my folder Maps. Okay, now let's select the plane, and while holding Alt, rotate it 180 degrees to duplicate it. Move up to make it into a ceiling. Let's add a spotlight. Let's change the mode to lit. Let's select the ceiling plane. Now holding Alt, rotate 90 degrees, making the side wall. Repeat this process in the other direction to make the other side wall. Let's add a mannequin for reference. We will need to get one first. I'm going to do that just by opening the content drawer, clicking the Add button, Add Feature or Content Pack, select the third person, Content Pack, Add to Project. Open the content drawer, select the third person blueprint and drag it into the level just for scale. Now let's position the camera accordingly. Add shapes, add a square. Let's scale that square up vertically to the ceiling. Now let's adjust the ceiling height to our desired level. Adjust the square to make it into a wall section. Duplicate and place these walls around the space as desired to make it kind of an abstract liminal space, one large room filled with nondescript vague walls. Time for materials. Add to project, Quixel Bridge, make sure to log in. In the search bar, type carpet. Navigate to carpet tiles. There's plenty to choose from. Select the desired quality. I always choose maximum. Download. Once they are downloaded, click export. You will now have a folder called Megascans located in your project's content folder. Open it and open the folder containing the carpet material. Drag and drop the material onto the floor plane. Note, the material scale will be wrong at first. Here's how I'm going to choose to fix it. There are multiple ways to do this. This is the quick, dirty, easy way. Open the carpet material instance. In the details panel under Global, check the box labeled Tiling Offset. Expand that section and under Tiling X and Tiling Y, change the number to your liking depending on the size you made the floor plane. In my case, I'm setting both to 100 and that works great. Back in Quixel Bridge, type in ceiling tiles and download soundproofed ceiling. Export to your project. Now follow all the steps you just did for the floor. It's the same process to rescale. Back in Quixel Bridge, type in wallpaper. Download and export all the options you'd like to try. There are some really great ones. One in particular is basically a perfect match for the most viewed Backrooms video by Kane Pixels, the one that introduced most people to the concept of liminal spaces. So that's the wallpaper I will use. I will need a few tweaks to make it work though. Keep in mind, everything from Quixel Bridge is free if you're using it in Unreal Engine. Isn't that amazing? My goodness. You know what they say, when life gives you lemons, better make some liminal spaces. For the wallpaper material, I'm going to duplicate the material instance and make changes to the duplicate this time. First, I change the tiling, just like I did for the previous materials. Note, one problem here is because the walls are cubes, the shorter sides have different density of tiles than the larger sides. If you want to fix this, you could make the walls out of planes like we did for the floor and the ceiling and have different material instances for each different size plane, but I'll leave that up to you. Right now we're just quick and dirty. Now let's expand the albedo in the material details. Check albedo tint, check albedo controls. Under albedo controls, reduce the saturation and brightness. Click tint and drag the color wheel into the yellow to match the popular liminal aesthetic of a yellow tinge. Ugh. Now, our walls are very accurate to the Backrooms style. That was fast. Now I apply the wallpaper material instance to the huge side walls made up of giant planes, and we see the material tiling is much larger. I fix this by duplicating smaller wall sections and just covering up the big wall with a bunch of little walls in a row. Yay! The lights. We're going to go for an office fluorescent panel style. Bring a square into your level, place it on the ceiling, size it to your liking, and add an emissive material to the shape. Again, I've included that in the project files. Or you could watch my tutorial here on how to make a flickering emissive material. The timecode section 207 to 255 shows you how to make a basic emissive material that doesn't flicker. or just use the emissive material in my project files I provided. In the project files I provided emissive materials, flickering emissive materials, and flickering light function materials. The difference between the three: an emissive material is just what it sounds like, a material that emits light. It's great for these fluorescent panels. A flickering emissive material is exactly what it sounds like. It's a material that emits light that flickers on and off. A flickering light function is slightly different. When you place a light into your level, which you may or may not need to do, if you want that light to flicker, you're going to need a flickering light function material. You can see here examples of the light panels, one flickering and one not flickering. Let's dive into post-processing volume a little bit here, and we're going to do more later. We're going to go Add, go to Visual Effects, Post-Processing Volume, drag a post-processing volume to your level. Select the volume in the outline, and in the Details panel, navigate to Infinite Extent Unbound and check that box. Now expand Exposure. Check Metering Mode box, switch to Manual, check Exposure Compensation box, set that to 15. Optional step: if you want more light, you can add a spotlight under your light panels. I find the emissive material casts enough light to work for me, but you can add a spotlight or rectangular light under each panel if you want to. Keep in mind that if you used a flickering emissive material on your ceiling light, you will also want to use a matching flickering light function material on the light, so that the light and the material flicker at the same rate. Now let's go finalize our lights. Let's zoom out to a bird's eye view way above and delete all but one light. With movement snapping on, let's duplicate the light as many times as you want so you get a bunch of rows of lights with equidistant spacing. Let's go back and do some basic post-processing. Let's adjust the exposure darker to add more contrast. Let's adjust the color grading, global saturation to bring out the yellow tinge vibe. Let's finalize the walls now. Again, zoom out to a bird's eye view and duplicate, and with rotation snapping set to 90 degrees, rotate the walls so you only have right angles in your liminal space. Place walls throughout the map to create depth and a surreal layout that doesn't feel like any real space, but more like a random dreamscape. Now, walk through the space to see that layout and see if it works for you. And fix any lights that may be intersecting walls if you want to. I'm not gonna, because I'm lazy. Now, the final touches that really bring out the liminal vibe. The environment is only one part of the equation. The next is the presentation. Videos that evoke the liminal spaces vibe often are in the found footage genre, meaning they are shot from a handheld camera perspective. Furthermore, the imagery is processed to look like it was shot on a handheld camera, usually one of the 90s or 80s era VHS recorders. For my short film, Liminal Forest, I employed these techniques to make my video look like it was recorded from a helmet camera. I actually did all the post-processing in Final Cut Pro 10 after exporting the footage untouched from Unreal Engine. Right now, I'm going to do a basic overview of how to give your Unreal Engine project that handheld video camera look inside Unreal Engine using the post-processing volume. This is relevant for people who want to make a video game or other interactive experience and need to have this found footage look baked into their project. In my next video, I will do a deep dive on how to post-process your footage and how to get that shaky handheld camera footage feel and the differences between using the post-processing volume inside Unreal Engine versus doing post-processing in your video editing software of choice later, and the pros and cons of those two options. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss that. Post-processing volume time. Okay, expand bloom. Check the method box, set to convolution. Check the intensity box, set to your desired number. I chose 1.98. Expand chromatic aberration, check intensity box, set intensity. I chose 0.73. Dirt mask is also a great way to add the illusion of your project being from the perspective of a camera with dirt on the lens. I did not use one because there is no default dirt mask filter provided and I'm lazy, so I didn't want to go get one right now. But you can do that if you want to. Expand camera, check aperture box. I chose to set it to 2.8 because that is the standard for cinema. Go back up to exposure and check the box next to apply physical camera exposure. Now back down in the camera section, check the ISO box and set it to fit the exposure level you want. Expand lens flares. Check the intensity box. Note, I will leave the intensity high while I choose the other settings so it's easy to see what I'm doing. Then I will lower the intensity so that the effect is subtle and realistic. Check the bokeh size box and adjust to your liking. I chose 20 for a super large and diffused bokeh, which to me looked like the flares you get on a smudged old Handycam lens. Check the tint box. I changed the tint to around yellow for our backroom tinge. Click OK. Lower the intensity to something like 0.135. Expand image vignette. Check the box, set to 1. Global illumination. Check the method box, select lumen, expand lumen global illumination, check the boxes and tweak the settings to get a look you find realistic. Expand motion blur, check the amount box, tweak to your liking. Expand film grain, check film grain intensity box, turn up to your liking. I chose all the way up, 1.0. There you go. Now you've got an awesome looking liminal space started and you've got the found footage aesthetic built right into your project. Here are some other tips for taking your environment to the next level. Adding some props and minor details like light switches, maybe radiators, wall plugs. Look into decals for stains on the walls and carpet and cracks in the ceiling, and maybe even some small signs here and there. Let your creativity run free. And once you've created something, please share with the community down in the comments the links to your projects. I can't wait to see what you're working on. And for the liminal space that I created for my short film, The Liminal Forest, aka The Backwoods, I wanted to turn this liminal space concept on its head and do something I'd never seen before, which was a forest inside of a liminal space giant room. And so I employed a lot of the same tools that I just showed you. The ceiling and the walls are made up of the ceiling tiles, are made up of the soundproof ceiling tiles that we used. I actually I turned up the normal maps on those to make them a bit more detailed. But the floor, as you'll see, is actually a landscape with a landscape material that has grass on one layer and dirt on another, and then a bunch of trees. And I also put in pillars with a Quixel Megascan concrete material. And then I've also got like a tunnel that leads into this building with a door. Now, for the props, but there's this office prop asset pack that is free for the month of November. If you already missed it, sorry, but you should look into all the free assets that Unreal Engine Marketplace gives away every month. You should download them every month no matter what. It will save you thousands of dollars over time. Amazing work by amazing artists, and it's an opportunity to get access to it for free. So I put these different props around the space, and I put them in rows, file cabinets and such in rows to continue the liminal aesthetic. And the door, the button panel, the wires, the chairs, the barrels, all of that is from this one asset pack. made my life so much easier. And then to get the first-person perspective, I actually socketed the camera to my Hazmat Man skeletal mesh's head, and then I animated him walking through the space. I added some motion on the camera whenever he turned his head, and I hand animated the whole thing. But I have now learned how to use Live Link to get the handheld camera aesthetic and to use my iPhone as a virtual camera. And I'm going to get into that in the next video. Now, if you really want to hit the easy button, go to Unreal Engine Marketplace and type in Backrooms or Liminal Spaces, and you will find a bunch of pre-made environments and like found footage VHS aesthetic tools that you can just buy. So there you go. In summing it up, we've gone all the way through how to make a liminal space totally for free, the things that I use to make my liminal space, the Liminal Forest, and some assets that you can buy right now on the Unreal Engine Marketplace. Plug and play, get started. If you want to make sure that you don't miss future videos and tutorials, please do check out that newsletter sign up in the description. Another way that you can stay in contact is by joining the Patreon. There is a free version of the Patreon. You can go sign up now. And if you want to get access to my other content, including my horror novel and the short films I'm making in Unreal Engine based on it, Northport 1999, go to the Patreon, patreon.com/Bodhi the Movie Maker. And you'll also get 15% off of merch like this hazmat bomber jacket. We have created a public Facebook group for Unreal Engine, Blender, and 3D application enthusiasts, for anyone interested in Unreal Engine, Blender, or other programs like that. Check it out, link in the description, the Midwest Unreal Engine and Blender group. You don't have to be from the Midwest, you can be from anywhere in the world. Plenty of our members are. Please join it, ask your questions, share your work. If you found this video useful, please don't forget to hit the like, the subscribe, and hit the bell. It really helps us grow this channel. Okay guys, love ya, bye! Taking visual inspection. Sector 77, all clear.